It happened on a quiet Thursday morning, in a town so ordinary, it could have been anywhere. 1,500 people, gone without a trace. Beds made, coffee cups untouched, streets empty, yet the world carried on as if nothing had happened. Investigators were baffled. No signs of struggle, no evidence of foul play, just an absence so complete, it was almost alive. This is Marsh's Edge, the town that disappeared, leaving behind a ghostly echo of life frozen in time. Tonight, we explore the chilling mystery of the silent town. And as you watch, ask yourself, if everyone vanished, would you be next? It happened on a quiet Thursday morning in late spring, in a town so ordinary it could have been anywhere. Marsh's Edge. 1,500 residents. One blinking stoplight. A few small businesses along Main Street. Kids riding bikes on sunlit sidewalks. The kind of place where doors stayed unlocked, where neighbors waved from porches, and where every face was familiar. But that morning, familiarity dissolved. Breakfast sat untouched, steam long gone from coffee cups. Half-eaten toast crumbled on plates. Phones rang incessantly, their owners absent. Streetlights burned as usual. Cars remained in driveways, engines cold. Storefronts stood open, lights on, but not a single soul inside. Chairs were pushed neatly under tables, beds made as if nobody had ever been there. It was the kind of quiet that felt like a held breath, anticipatory, unnatural. The first 911 call came at 8:43 a.m., from a postal driver following his usual route along Elm Street. He entered Mrs. Gilbert's kitchen, she never missed her morning coffee, and found the kettle still warm, the spoon resting in the cup. He called out. No answer. Then he noticed it, the newspaper folded at the living room table, but the front door ajar, and no sign of struggle. Dispatchers assumed a medical emergency, but then calls started pouring in. Man collapsed in kitchen, cup in hand. Family van in driveway, doors unlocked. Phones unanswered at the diner, staff nowhere. Within minutes, the entire town seemed swallowed by absence. The Marsh's Edge Police Department arrived first, followed by county investigators and a task force armored vehicle. Every house entered was intact. No signs of forced entry. Beds remained neatly made. Shoes lined up by doors. Pets slept undisturbed, as if lulled by some unseen lullaby. The power grid was normal. Water flowed. And yet, no one lived there. Investigators began to map the town block by block. The Johnson family, the mother at the dining table, fork suspended mid-air, the father's newspaper open to the obituaries. Their teenage daughter's phone buzzed on the sofa, dozens of notifications waiting. At the high school, the auditorium stage was set for that night's spring concert, chairs aligned, instruments tuned, sheet music laid out. Even the church bell had rung at 6:50 a.m., but the rope hung limp, as if untouched for hours. The first hours were surreal. Footsteps echoed through empty streets. The wind carried whispers, maybe from the trees, maybe imagined. Shadows seemed to shift inside homes. Investigators noted small oddities. A rocking chair in the Gilberts' living room swayed slightly, though no one had touched it. The diner's coffee machine was still brewing, though unplugged, and faint music could be heard from the jukebox even though it had no power. Tiny details, easily dismissed. But in Marsh's Edge, nothing seemed ordinary anymore. Surveillance cameras offered the only hard evidence. Traffic cams, store cameras, school cameras. At 12:17 a.m., streets were active, cars, a late-night diner patron, a couple walking a dog. At 12:46, a single car left town, headlights cutting through the dark. By 1:03, activity ceased. Every movement stopped. No cars, no pedestrians, no lights flickered off. By dawn, the town was empty. Search teams combed homes. Every bed was made. Dog bowls full. Food baskets on porches. Coffee grounds left in filters. The bakery's shelves were stocked, loaves untouched. At the high school, instruments waited silently on stands. Everything was preserved, frozen mid-moment. Nothing suggested panic, chaos, or preparation. Investigators looked for signs of evacuation. Cars remained in driveways, keys in ignition. The community center parking lot was full. Footprints were discovered in the woods behind town, but they vanished at the riverbank. Boats lay moored. GPS pings from cell phones ended abruptly at 1:06 a.m., outside town limits. When investigators reached the coordinates, they found a small clearing. The ground was unusually flat, trimmed as if manicured. Trees bore chalk symbols, triangles connected by circles, partially erased. No clue existed for their meaning. The coroner confirmed what everyone feared and hoped might be false: no deaths. Not yet. No evidence of toxins, no disease, no injury. Everyone was gone, alive but unreachable. Weeks passed. The media dubbed it the silent town. Theories emerged: mass psychosis, alien abduction, government experiments. But none fit. Families of the missing gathered. Only one person returned. Adam Fisher emerged 3 days later from the woods, mud-streaked, dehydrated. He carried a flashlight, his shirt torn. Disoriented, he repeated only, "It's not here anymore." He collapsed soon after. Beyond midnight, he remembered nothing. Sleepwalking? A fugue? Trauma? Investigators could not determine. Life in Marsh's Edge became theater frozen mid-scene. The diner reopened. Floors scrubbed, tables wiped. Yet the chairs remained tucked beneath the tables. The ovens cooled with half-baked loaves. At the high school auditorium, music sheets waited for performances that would never arrive. Small anomalies continued. Residents walking nearby reported strange sounds: the faint laughter of children in empty playgrounds, the soft scrape of chairs in abandoned homes, wind carrying whispers like messages. Cameras left inside homes captured fleeting shadows, objects subtly moved, lights flickering in patterns that suggested consciousness without form. Investigators were meticulous. Every file, GPS ping, surveillance clip, and piece of evidence was preserved. Nothing revealed how 1,500 people could vanish without trace. The chalk markings remained indecipherable. No footprints led to a vehicle. No mass transport existed. Yet the absence spoke. It was a presence of another kind, a hollow, echoing void. Years passed. Nature slowly reclaimed the town. Weeds overtook sidewalks. Windows clouded with dust. Evidence collected was archived, inaccessible to the public. Letters sat unsent, cakes half-baked, coffee cups still abandoned on counters. Phones rang in empty houses, endlessly. Journalists returned. They wandered the streets at dusk. Shadows flickered in windows. The mind whispered, someone must still be here. Someone had not left. The feeling lingered in every hush, every corner, every motionless object. The sheriff's report was clinical: Marsh's Edge remains missing. Insufficient evidence to classify as a crime or mass panic. Continued monitoring recommended. Yet the truth was visible to anyone who walked its streets. The town was gone. Its life, frozen. Its absence, deafening. 1,500 souls vanished, leaving behind a perfect stage set, a ghostly echo, a puzzle that resisted solution. Sometimes absence is louder than presence. And if you listen too closely, if you let your imagination stretch into the stillness, you might hear Marsh's Edge calling your name. Because the town is waiting. And perhaps, one day, it will answer.